Eni Aluko, ladies and gentlemen. This one is going to be very interesting. I've not watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it with you guys. And hey, all we can say is this is the most embarrassing, tragic downfall, the quickest downfall I've ever seen from a TV, representative. Right? I've seen some of her takes. They're embarrassing. I feel secondhand embarrassment when I hear half the things she says. I mean, I remember one time she compared herself to Wayne Rooney, and just her takes in general are just embarrassing. But listen, let's get straight into this one. Listen, I've got my crisp ready, man. You know what I mean? I bought some jammy Dodgers too, thinking, you know what? But I need some food, man. I was a bit too hungry, and I just ate it one time, man. But yes, let's get into this, bro.
I mean, I was probably what Wayne Rooney was.
Oh, go on then. Slide! Unlucky.
Oh man.
Charlie, by the way.
Perfect.
This is the one.
Unlucky.
I love my forehead. I love my big African Aluko forehead. I like my big lips. I like my big booty.
Hey, listen, I've realized, hey, my forehead's getting kind of bigger, man. I looked at a picture from 5-6 years ago. And hey, listen, let's just say, hey, I don't know what's happening, bro. But I think the barbers are gonna have to miss me for a few months, cause hey, certain ain't right now, bro.
I like it.
Why are so many people against her, and why has she become the most hated person in football, recently getting tons of backlash online and stick for anything she says? She gets accused of playing victim. She gets accused of playing the race card. Let's get into her story.
My hair, people have commented on my hair and my hairline. I've experienced stress-related hair loss. There's no doubt about that. I've had a very stressful 2 years. But is that now going to make me feel insecure? Beauty's an internal job, my friends.
This all starts with a woman who is a professional former footballer now doing female commentary, not only on the women's game, but also the men's game, and making a bunch of mistakes, and people were turning against her.
It doesn't get any worse than a 10-point deduction. That's probably the worst punishment you can get. And they responded really well, got some big wins. Players like Dwight, they're playing really well.
He really has. He's the top scorer for Brazil over the last 2 years. He's got a great record, 19 goals in 40 appearances. Do the math on that. It's one goal a game.
Just be a bit more consistent, because sometimes it can be amazing techers and the next minute's over the bar.
Well, put it this way, they did a poll on X to see if she is a good pundit or not. Someone said, let's put this to bed. Is she a good pundit? And 98% of people said no. And the people who actually pay for the sport of football in general, everyone earns in it, the commentators, the footballers on the pitch, and everything is the fans, so they should be able to decide. And because she's done a role as a sporting director, she was given speculation what was happening on big transfers like Declan Rice going to Arsenal, and she still stands on this story happening to this day. In a recent Simon Jordan interview, she said she was right about this.
Bidding. It's a bit like an auction, isn't it? I don't think Manchester City actually want to sign Declan Rice. I think what's going on here is Arteta's picked up the phone to Pep, said, listen, Arsenal are going to do the sort of incremental bid approach. If you put a higher bid in, that will push my owner to I think there's a bit of that.
And as you will see with the Ian Wright situation.
Now, listen, okay. For that one, considering, Pep and, Arteta are very close or whatever, it's not like unimaginable. It's not like something that could never happen, but the likeliness of I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not, what it is? I'm trying to be neutral. I'm trying to, give her a little chance, man. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give her a chance. But so far already, she's making it very difficult for me, bro.
As we go throughout this video, she has a habit of not letting things go and standing on it and being stubborn, even after sometimes she apologizes or admits she was wrong about things.
Everything I said about that Declan Rice transfer happened.
In what respect?
In the respects that I called it, and I was asked on the day that Manchester City put a bid, and I said, I don't think he's going to Manchester City. I think this is going to help Arsenal. And I think Arteta and Pep are probably talking about the bid. There's been 2 bids knocked back by Arsenal that it's very clear what West Ham want in terms of the 100 million fee. And this bid is going to help Arteta go to the board and say a competitor's coming in. 2 days later, Declan Rice goes for Arsenal. So in my view, I'm like, I called it. So when you say it's fortuitous, I go, what?
Yeah, I do. I think you suggested that it was a common dialogue between sporting directors in businesses to manipulate their owners. And the conversation,
I
that's what you said. Well, you did. You did, actually.
Say that.
Well, okay. Well, we can replay the content. You can have a look at it for yourself and evaluate it.
So let's give a little bit of a backstory before we talk about her two.
Hey, but before, he goes on. Her hairstyles, bro. Her hairstyles need to be discussed, man. I try to avoid it. I try to avoid her hairstyles, man. But sometimes some things are just too hard to miss. Now, what is that, bro? What is this, man? Now, listen. Bro, who is our friends, our family members? Who is telling you to come on show with your hairstyle like this, man? And when people don't like you as it is, every little thing you do, appearance-wise, is going to be highlighted even further, man. It's going to be like a magnifying glass, bro. What is that hairstyle? Like, what is the name of this hairstyle, bro?
Confrontations and where her pundit career has gone wrong. Now she's not getting booked for any work and is saying she isn't going to work in the UK. The first time she actually came to everyone's attention, she was speaking out against her then England manager for racist remarks he was making. She spoke out about this on national television years later as well.
I had given my account of what I felt was discrimination towards me, what I felt was a bullying culture.
England manager Mark Sampson was the subject of Aluko's complaints and the man who dropped her from the squad, the timing of which the FA insists was purely coincidental. Both an internal inquiry and an independent investigation cleared him and his staff of any wrongdoing and found no evidence of an alleged racial remark to another player. Sampson's vowed to improve his communication style, but Aluko, who's a qualified lawyer, has now gone public with an alleged incident involving the coach before a game in 2014.
He asked me, who's coming to watch the game for you? And I said, I've got family coming in from Nigeria, actually. I've got family flying in. And he said, make sure they don't come over with Ebola. It was an unfavourable comment made to me that made me feel completely shocked and intimidated. That was said to me because I'm of African descent.
Listen.
Obviously, if what he said was true, it's a very inappropriate comment, right? Yeah, it's a very inappropriate comment. I don't know the relationship that them two had. If their relationship was like they never used to speak with each other, then it's very, very inappropriate, right? And yeah, that's when you can, highlight racism. If them two had like a relationship where it's banter, like them two could, make jokes with each other, and then it's just a usual joke amongst human beings, bro. Because you're like, bro, you know what it is? I've looked at some old, comedy shows and stuff where you had comedians and like they were free to make jokes. Yeah, and there wasn't like this big sensitive nature that is going on in the world as it is right now. Like nowadays, comedians, they're so restricted. Like I don't even find anyone funny, bro. Like obviously you got people like Cat Williams and stuff that is still kind of that old gen. But other than that, everyone's just so sensitive, bro. You know what I mean? But as I said, having said that, if them two never had that type of relationship, then yeah, it's very inappropriate. But even then, Ebola, like, was that even like a real thing, or was that again just media propaganda? Yeah, let's not even get into all that. But let's get back to the video, man.
He issued apparently a formal apology to her, but during their investigation, they cleared the manager of any racial discrimination, bullying and harassment in an independent inquiry, claiming the comment was not made. There was a lot of investigating around this. There was another report that came out saying that Sampson did make ill-judged attempts at humour.
Mark Sampson addressed the team and said, we all know Eni's a pain in the arse. Now, on any given day, that may not seem that serious. But the minute you say, we all know Eni's a pain in the arse, I think, well, everybody thinks that. And that's one of many things that had happened up until that point. And actually, that was a moment when that was more deserving of praise. I've just scored a hat-trick for England.
And you think that's malicious, not just banter, not just an ill-judged, harmless comment?
I think it's malicious because I don't remember anybody else who scored a hat-trick being called a pain in the arse.
Listen, if she banged off a hat-trick And after that hat trick, she being told she's a pain in the ass. Then I don't know. I think that's a bit questionable still. Like, but again, there was no context with it. Like, why was you called a pain in the ass? Like, what happened for? Unless like you just got a hat trick and you're just randomly being called a pain in the ass. Like, what? Where's the context behind it?
Feel anxious every time I get on TV that my race and my gender is going to be attacked.
Kate Apter is a chick and we all love her. Michael Richards is black and we all love him. It's nothing got to do with race or gender. You're just a shit pundit, mate.
Well, in September 2014, she became the first woman to appear as a pundit on BBC's Match of the Day, analysing the men's Premier League games, breaking major barrier and opening the doors for others to come through. She was the first female ex-player pundit for ITV's Men's World Cup coverage in Russia 2018, and has been a leading voice in women's football coverage on Fox Sports, Women's World Cups, TNT Sports and BBC. But she's been very active around the debate on women's football punditry.
So if it was to start changing, would you mind, or like, say for example, women started doing men's finals and stuff, would that be an issue for you, or would you think it should?
I think it should be. I think that would make it more fair.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not doing the women's final, but I'm getting a job doing the men's final, then
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I can never do the men's final. So the only way I have an opportunity is to do the women's final. Yeah. But now I can't do the women's final. I can't bring all of that experience and insight. And let's be honest, what I represent for young girls who want to be footballers, who want to be broadcasters, is way more than what Ian Wright represents.
She reignited controversy by arguing that male pundits like Ian Wright and others are taking opportunities away from the female ex-players in the women's games coverage. She claims roles should prioritise women with lived experience in the women's game, sparking backlash, including from Lauren Woods, who called the by women for women idea damage and emphasised merit and communication over caps, and others who saw it as undermining female pundits' credibility by implying they're selected on vibes rather than their skill.
I'm not gonna lie, bro, yeah. From what I know about Ian Wright has been pro women football for a very long time, bro. Bro, how are you gonna go against one of the most liked people in like British football right now? Like, he was one of the worst people to go against, and especially if you're gonna come with the racism, blah blah blah, and then you go against someone who's just as black as you. Like, bro, what is going on, fam?
Lauren Wood said caps don't win automatic work. They don't make a brilliant pundit either. The way you communicate, articulate yourself and do your research and inform your audience, and how likable you are and the chemistry you have with your panel is what makes you a brilliant pundit. We're just going to have to say it here. There is a massive gap in skill between men's football and women's football, and there's been debate how good she was. In her playing career, there was 105 caps for England, 33 goals between 2014 and 2016, multiple titles with Chelsea women and Juventus stint. She retired in 2020. She had executive roles sporting a director at Angel City FC, Aston Villa women, but now is predominantly a broadcaster and executive advisor.
I'm so tired of this narrative, yeah. Like, I actually had a video. Like, I sat down with a girl one time, just like a few months ago. And bear in mind, by the way, she doesn't watch football. But she's trying to tell me that, you know, women should be paid the same amount as men. So I'm like, so what? I asked her to name me the best female footballer. She told me Lauren James. I'm sure she said Lauren James. And I was like, do you think that she should be paid the same amount as Bellingham? Like, just, you know, two British people. And she's like, yeah. Even though Bellingham is a much better footballer than her, yeah, because everything should be equal. I'm like, what? I was like, you tell me the last game of football you watched. She couldn't tell me, bro. She couldn't tell me. So I was like to her, so wait there, do you think that women's football generates the same amount of revenue as men's football? No. So where would they get the money from, bro? So unless you're trying to tell me that the revenue for the women should be taken out the men's, but then that means that's not equal. That's not fair. Oh, can't be us. And then do men even get a fair amount technically in comparison to how much football generates in the men's football? Anyway.
She's done other work outside of football, like a lawyer, an author, philanthropist, keynote speaker. She's MBE honoured and continues punditry across major networks. She's compared herself to good players before, and people have done breakdowns on TikTok saying that she weren't that good at football, which is harsh.
How good was Eni Aluko? We've all seen these clips, but how good was she?
Now, she was decent, man. She was
just offside, I reckon, there. Close one. Oh, straight out of play. It's all in the same game, this one. It's a World Cup game. Nah. She goes, she's in. Keeper misses it. Open net. Sails wide. Here we go. Whip it in. Spread it. Nope.
Listen, for women standards,
takes her on.
For women
Nice
standards,
cross. Whip it in.
she ain't too bad.
Back stick. Nope. Aluko! Oh, a little P roller, a little daisy cutter. Give and go. No give, just go. Cool, what an own goal that is. Love the keeper, here she goes. Just cut it across. Ball's out of play. No, not having that.
This is just a bad highlight.
Take her on. She does.
Anyone can have a bad highlight reel.
Now, that is just the introduction. We need to get into the juicier stuff. Anything she says now, she gets torn to pieces. And this is accurate as we go into the main part of this video.
Speaking of cancel, someone who's been cancelled about 15 times, but she has still got a job, is Eni Aluko.
Right. She's trying her best.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's that? Not the best response you want, is it? It's that's just disgusting.
Is that racist or sexist?
A female footballer pundit that gets a lot of stick for what she.
Oh, really?
Says,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So she came out recently and she said Ian Wright had stopped a lot of women getting higher roles or whatever it was, stopping a lot of opportunities for women because he's involved in women's football. A lot of backlash for it, and then had to apologise.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
About Ian Wright or about Eni Aluko or about whether he stopped women?
No, just as a whole.
Her big issue is whatever she says, because she's got the history of...
people instantly think you don't know what you're on about.
And if someone dislikes you, then you could say the most reasonable thing, like we should feed starving children in a war zone, and people go, oh, don't know any. You know, like... what have the kids done? Do you know what I mean? Or they go, well, where are the parents? You know?
Yeah.
And she also picked the most likeable person in football, in Ian Wright.
So the Ian Wright situation. Eni Aluko appears on BBC Radio 4's Women Hour in a discussion about limited opportunities for women in football broadcasting amid her ongoing issues with Joey Barton and the defamation case. She names Ian Wright as an example. She calls him a brilliant broadcaster, but says he and other male pundits should be aware of occupying space in women's football coverage, potentially blocking pathways for female pundits due to limited opportunities.
This was never about sort of attacking Ian Wright. This was always about women's football and the fact there's limited opportunities in women's football in comparison to men's football. And how can we continue to create opportunities in women's football for women, right? And how can men support that? You know, so I really, really want to move away from talking about Ian Wright because Ian Wright's name was never really meant to come up in that initial interview on Women's Hour.
Bro, she doesn't help herself, man. Like, she's gone on to another show, another talk show, and she's just doing the same victim mentality. Bro, like, give it a rest, man. Give it a rest, bro. At some point, you know, maybe, you know what it is? At some point, maybe even right, you know, maybe some criticism and stuff isn't fair. But when you just embody yourself in victimhood, you just basically erase all truths to, you know, the unneeded criticism that you're facing, bro, because no one likes to just constantly hear the same victim mentality, victim. Talk about the fact that, you know, you've been given a great opportunity, you know, to represent yourself, your family, your name as a footballer. Yeah. Maybe at least say, you know what? I looked back on my commentary last week and, you know, I realized that I've got some improvement to do. You know? Something simple as that, man. Like, even, for example, as with this video here, and I hope, it's not done it. So, when I play videos, sometimes you'd hear, like, the echo. Like, you'd hear the echo from the video. And, like, I'll be getting feedback from the comments, right? And, like, instead of me, like, attacking them for constructive criticism, yeah, I basically took it on board. I researched, why am I getting that feedback? And I fixed it, bro. It seems like when she gets criticism, she sees it as, you know, racism and sexism, bro. Like, give it a rest, man.
And I've apologised for it. I hate the fact his name came up. You know, Ian is everything that everybody says he is. He's a supportive, great advocate. My suggestion is that he is a great advocate, but maybe there is another way he can support the main broadcast and free up a punditry spot. And those punditry spots represent big contracts, lucrative contracts. For me, where I feel women's football pundits still, there's still a limited amount of finances and resources that come into the game for broadcasting. That's all I'm saying.
Backlash grows quickly on social media, with Ian Wright being a strong advocate for women's football, his coaching fund, his funding player rehab. Aluko faces criticism for personalising a systemic point. She actually went on to issue a public apology. Also, private attempts via his agent earlier, saying it was wrong to name Wright specifically, and that her intent was the broader representation issues.
So, quick one. I've always been open to having a conversation with Ian Wright with mutual respect, respect towards me for everything I've done in the game, and respect towards him for everything he's done in the game. Ian.
Hey, listen, chat, listen. We're not even halfway through the video, and already I feel so drained, bro. I feel drained hearing her voice. I feel drained listening to what she's got to say. I feel drained soaking in this victimhood, this victim mindset that she just perpetrates every single time she comes on screen, bro. I feel drained. Imagine living with this, man. Hey, listen, a lot of men actually live with people with something like this, bro. A lot of people, I've noticed that, like sometimes when I'll go past like a pub or something, and like I'll just see like a load of people just there every single week. I'm like, bro, like why do you come here all the time? They're saying that they're trying to get away from home. Like, you know how sad that is? Like you're supposed to dedicate yourself to someone, but like, mate, obviously I'm not married. I'm not married. I'm not in tune with all of that type of stuff. I've been single for a little while now. But bro, is marriage that bad? Is marriage actually this bad that you feel like you need to escape? You escape and spend time at the pub. Get drunk. Take yourself away from reality and then go back home. Like, hey. But yeah, that's a topic for another day, man. Let's get back to the video.
And if you're watching this, that there's been sort of like, I don't want to work with her, and there's sort of this active choice that people are now having to make, which is childish. I'm putting it out there that I'm more than open to a conversation with Ian Wright. I've said my piece. I've given more context. I've been quiet for a very long time. The weaponization of Ian Wright's name against me is why we're still talking about him. When I apologized to Ian Wright publicly and privately, he had an opportunity to show the grace.
Listen, them showing the highlights of her trying to score, bro, yeah, it's just so dark.
The allyship that he showed to many other people. Unfortunately, my sincerity, my humility was met with disrespect. He greenlit all of these people to further abuse me for my opinion. That we always know they're going to paint me out to be the bad person, the bitter, angry black woman. It's the same playbook. Same playbook against Diane Abbott, against Meghan Markle, against Dawn Butler. The same playbook. It's predictable at this point. We're here because there was an opportunity after I apologized to come together and have a conversation, but rather there was a green lighting of lots of abuse and lots of weaponization. People don't care about apologies. People don't care.
Listen, she was specifically given an opportunity to be on TV, to represent, black people, represent women. And she's not good at her job, bro, but then what does she do? Throw the race card. Listen, you see, even me as a black guy, bro. Even me as a black guy, I'm so tired, of when someone throws a race card unnecessarily, bro. This has got nothing to do with you being black, bro. This is to do with you being absolutely rubbish at your job. Oh, she has ruined her whole career beyond repair now. All of this generational catastrophic run that she's been on, bro. Yeah, is one for the history books, man. All this victimhood, this victim mindset that she's been perpetrating on everyone's screens. She's been on an absolute run. She
Care about sincerity. People don't care about respect. They want you to be cancelled. And that's a very powerful position to be in. Oh, you know, that's why you're losing opportunities. I choose against certain opportunities.
Ian Wright responds publicly via Instagram saying he's very disappointed and notes the apology but cannot accept it and express a desire to move on from further commentary. He emphasises his limited involvement in women's coverage, only a handful of appearances on England games.
I have to talk about this week and what's gone on. I don't want to endlessly be asked about it. I've got to say I'm very disappointed by what Eni has said. She knows how I've helped her, supported her publicly. And I know the previous conversations she's had with me and my management. So for me, I've seen the apology on social media, but I can't accept it. But I also want to move on from it. For anyone watching this, I really don't need any further social commentary directed at anyone on this. But the thing about where the women's game is that it can't be about individuals like me. It has to be about the collective. And because of the past, we know the men blocked the women's game for 50 years. Because of the past, and the game has serious systemic challenges, and it's going to take, I should say, everyone to help fix it. So for me, I'll always give back to the game it's given me so much. I was with the Tenemy girls team last night, and the vibes were great. I've got to post a picture of them, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble from them. So I'll do that later, because I promised the girls that. But anyway, let me not digress. It's never bothered me about who's playing the game, as long as they're playing the game. If you know my story, you'll know how much football means to me. And when you think about it, we are the country that invented modern football. So we have a responsibility, a greater than most, to lead the way in women's football.
Wyatt's non-acceptance of her apology draws criticism from some. Supporters defend him as a net positive for the women's game. Her ITV contract isn't renewed. She later claims budget cuts and priority of Ian Wright's role, including for the Women's Euros in 2025 coverage, and they probably cannot be working together because of the situation. During the tournament, including the final, Wright and another...
Hey, that forward is much smaller now. I don't know what she did, but that forward is looking super small.
Among pundits on ITV and BBC, Aluko and Farrah Williams are not involved. She later cites this as an example of men taking spots.
Last year, at the Women's Lionesses final, I'm sat in the stands. I wasn't on ITV for the final. Farrah Williams was sat next to me. Farrah Williams has 170 caps for England. The two broadcasters that had the rights, ITV, BBC. On BBC, you've got Ellen White, Steph Horton, Nedum Noura. No offence to Nedum Noura, nothing against him. I don't know whether he played for England or not. You're on the main panel for the final for England women. Let's go over to ITV. I'm in the stands with 105 caps. So you've got two women, 290 caps, something ridiculous, right? ITV, and it's Ian Wright, Emma Hayes, and Kaz Carney. So out of 6 spots, 2 have gone to men. Meanwhile, you've got 290 sitting in the stands. I've just told you I've never done a final, and I'm probably gonna struggle to think of any woman, female pundit, who's done a men's major final.
As a pundit.
I'm not talking about presenters, because people like to conflate the two. It's a different role. It's like comparing a forward and a defender. It's different jobs. I'm talking about as a pundit. So something's not right there.
So it's all come back up again recently. So Aluko appeared on the 90s Baby show. In 2 parts, she reignites the discussion, saying Ian Wright's refusal to accept her apology greenlit further abuse towards her over 9 months. Someone said it perfectly about her. It's a strange one. She's happy to be a pundit for the men's game, but doesn't want any men working on the women's game. You can't have it both ways. You're embarrassing yourself and actually making it harder for women to have the credibility they deserve.
Just get her off the screens already. It's over. It's extremely over. I do not have to be the 100th person to point out the dumb stuff that Eni Aluko has said on camera. But this needs to stop before it becomes an even bigger problem. Because deep down, I feel like these publications are only having her on because they know how divisive she is. Meaning that at this point, Aluko is so controversial that even if she does say something that has a little bit of sense or merit, it's not gonna matter. People are not gonna like it because they don't like her. The reason they gotta get her off because unfortunately there is not a lot of representation for women, let alone black women in punditry. So if the first woman or black woman in the space that football fans think of is someone that's known for saying dumb shit, then it is going to have bad results. Now, most normal people see Aluko saying some dumb shit and they're just like, hey, Aluko's kinda dumb. That's fine. But unfortunately, there's also a portion of people that see Aluko saying something stupid and uses as a reason to say that we shouldn't have women or black women talking about football on a big scale, which should not be the case. So for the sake of healthy representation, get her the fuck off.
And she's been getting her fair share of attacks online. Just recently had to speak out and defend herself. There is a lot of online bullying that comes with the football space alone, and she has been a massive target.
Let me just remind everybody, I love my forehead. I love my big African Aluko forehead. I like my big lips. I like my big booty. I like it.
Hey, listen, she is, bro. I don't know if she's doing it on purpose. I don't know if she's like deliberately trying to rage bait, you know? Because like, what is the need in addressing, going out, you're seeing hate, you know you're seriously in the public eye right now. What are you gonna gain from putting the phone up, talking about your big forehead, your big African booty? I forgot what she said. What are you gonna gain from that, man? Just say, you know what, you've been taking time out to look at your analysis and, you know, your punditry, and, you know, you do need to improve a little bit, man. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. But no, she'd rather come out and, you know, just clearly try to rage bait people into dropping more hate comments, man.
My hair, people have commented on my hair and my hairline. I've experienced stress-related hair loss. There's no doubt about that. I've had a very stressful 2 years. But is that now going to make me feel insecure? And beauty's an internal job, my friends. Beauty's an internal job, so you can't get to me with all this nonsense.
She suggests he could have been a better ally.
It's true though, beauty is an internal job though. Like, you know, if you're putting yourself out there, and this applies to anyone, you put yourself out there in any way, expect some criticism, man. If everyone likes you, then that's a problem. You know, it means you're probably not being yourself. You know, you're trying to suck up to everybody, bro. You know what I mean? So not everyone is going to like you, so you have to have tough skin.
By stepping aside sometimes and advocating for her after the ITV tour. She claimed broadcasters prioritised Ian Wright due to budgets and contract reason, and is felt gaslit by Lauren Wood's comments. She appears on TalkSport in a heated interview with Jim White and Simon Jordan. She elaborates on feeling disrespected. She calls British TV a toxic space and announces she's stepping away from UK broadcasting work. She reiterates no personal dislike for Ian Wright, but frustration over opportunities and a weaponisation of her name against her.
As far as expertise is concerned, when I listen to her as a pundit and the times that I've listened to her, I don't think that she's particularly enlightening or illuminating or engaging or charismatic, or sometimes comes across particularly likable. But that's my view. And some people will have the same view about me. And my view of punditry is when I listen to a pundit, whoever that pundit might be, whatever they may be, whether it's male, female, black, white, yellow, green, it's do I learn something from them? Do they engage me? Do I find them interesting and entertaining? And do they merit my attention? And that's my response to the reasons why I was saying the things I said.
He's sitting right beside you.
Yeah, I you know, it's an opinion, isn't it? Which
Indeed.
we're all entitled to. I put value on opinions, right? You have to, because there's, you know,
Depends where they come from, right?
everybody has them, right? So I'm not going to listen to a mob on X.
A comment was actually made by her on Instagram at the end of 2025. This only a few months back. It was deleted shortly after claiming again Ian Wright doesn't care about black women, and people are saying she doesn't help herself. This is another side to her off camera. That's a new one. Prescription drugs are not capable of holding a gun and shooting kids. Gun violence is clearly part of the right wing. White culture, as is paedophilia, and here you are talking about black single mothers. You wish my career is dead is news to me. My career is vibrant internationally, and telling the truth about black men who couldn't care less about black women hasn't changed my career in the slightest, but whatever makes you feel better and where you are in your life. There is two different sides to her, and there is a really innocent feel sorry for her side that people come to, and there's stuff where she just clearly doesn't help herself.
find it hard, like, I don't do many of, like, the women's games and stuff because I'm like...
Because of Ian?
No.
Right, we're here, we're finished, that's it.
Someone actually said after this, if you ever get criticised for saying that Eni Aluko has main character energy from now on, remember that she said this herself about Ian Wright not taking work so she can have it instead. Where she said, but 9 months later, when I've been off screen and I've seen that you're doing games and you've cracked on, the matter of the fact is, you have a level of influence to say, I don't need to do every game. What Eni means to women's football is much more important than me doing all of these games. Eni is one of the main characters of women's football. I know this is bigger for her. It's going to be harder for her to get this opportunity in men's football. There's other women in the game too as well that can have these opportunities, but why has Ian Wright got to give her the work? So Ian Wright barely said anything, got disrespected, and it was a massive W this situation for Ian Wright. She literally ruined her career by going against him, but someone she did beat legally in court was Joey Barton, and this one was even more unhinged, the back and forth.
You feel crippled. I didn't eat. I didn't, get out of bed that week. Didn't leave my house. I felt terrified about, just being in my local area. Who knows who's going to...
I thought she said she doesn't care about what people say and all that stuff. So why was she scared to leave the house?
See me. I felt under threat. I felt under siege.
Joey Barton has been the most outspoken against women in football and their commentary, saying he does not listen to them and any man that does should be getting their head checked. And he's had a lot of backlash and ended up getting into a situation with her that led into a courtroom.
Did she not meet your criteria?
To talk about the men's game? Well, she hasn't played in it. She hasn't played in any games. The men's game and the women's game in this country are different. One's about 200 years old and one's about 30, 40 years old.
It started with a tweet from Barton where he claimed women shouldn't be talking with any kind of authority in the men's game, adding he cannot take a thing they say serious in the men's arena.
And obviously he began to critique the female pundits and was getting tons of backlash for it. That infamous Piers Morgan interview.
Not everybody is a consummate broadcaster when they very first start. Did you ever see Gary Neville when he was first on Monday Night Football? He said himself he wasn't brilliant.
Exactly. He said himself it wasn't brilliant. Whereas with her now, she's acting as though, she's got no fault, she can't be criticized. It's okay to accept criticism, man. And just streamline your weak points, man. It's bro, I'm using some brain cells right now, man.
You have to learn on the job when you're live. You can't learn live television anywhere but live television. That doesn't mean they don't know anything about the game.
Believe it or not, Joey Barton and Aluko had some prior positive interactions on X, with Barton sending supportive messages about her career between 2017 and 2020. The main trigger occurred after ITV coverage of the FA Cup round tie, Crystal Palace vs Everton, on January 4th. Barton posted on X criticising her and her fellow pundit Lucy Ward as the Fred and Rose West of football commentary, comparing them to the infamous serial killers for murdering fans' ears with poor commentary. Aluko described them as racially charged and sexist. He also compared Aluko to dictators like Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, and follow-ups. Broadcaster Jeremy Vine defended them, prompting further posts from Barton calling him a bike, nonsense him, and insults, which was a whole other situation itself. Aluko spoke publicly about the impact, saying that his post left her devastated, unable to eat or get out of bed, frightened to leave home, sometimes in disguise, and caused deep distress. She described him as sexist, racist, and misogynist, and ITV condemned Barton's remarks.
Even Eni Aluko this week saying she was scared to go out the house. I mean, we'll have to take that at face value, and I think she's been a really good women's footballer, but let's be honest, she shouldn't be talking about the men's game. She's had ample opportunity and she's not got better. For me today to say this week in the video, a peer group is saying to her she's doing really well. I'm like, okay, well, it's not her fault. She's clearly not getting the correct training to help her get better, or the correct constructive feedback loops. So actually don't blame me, and I don't blame any of the girls. But if I'm an advocate for men's mental health, and I'm talking to champion men's mental health causes and going hiking, well, we've got to think about young women's mental health as well. It can't be beneficial to these young ex-women footballers to be in positions and having to shut down their social media feeds for the amount of abuse they're getting for not knowing their onions. Now, the lads can't but not have a go at them. If you don't know your onions, if you can't count, if you can't do basic arithmetic, and if you can't describe what loads of lads are actually seeing, then they're going to get frustrated and they're going to say stupid stuff on social media. and I don't think it's fair on the girls, but they should not be in that position for it to happen. Like, so who's the responsibility lie on? Does it lie on the social media networks to block out the noise? Does it lie on the broadcaster to take these people off the screens?
The police actually charged Joey Barton malicious communications offences related to the post. Aluko pursued a civil defamation claim against the specific January 2024 post. In the civil case, Aluko versus Barton, the High Court ruled that some of the posts were defamatory, including accusations of playing the race card and references to her background.
No one really knows which Joey Barton we should believe. And you ask the question, you know, if he had such a horrific view of my punditry, he never raised it before. You know, he seemed to be okay with all the things going on in my career before, which I think is quite transparent. You know, 4 years later in 2024, when he's launching a podcast, he then decides to start writing horrific things publicly to court and engage an audience that, you know, doesn't think black people should be on TV and doesn't think women should be on TV. So it's very two-faced, and it's very, you know, I don't even believe no one really knows which Joey Barton we should believe. Do we believe the guy that sent me nice messages over a 3-year period, or do we believe the guy that, you know, is this sort of anti-women, all these DEI nonsense on TV, you know? So either way, I think it's malicious and it's calculated. And I think he calculated the damage it would have done to me personally. I would have liked to see a lot more courage on the broadcaster's part to say, this is not something we're going to accept. And how that
was convicted of 6 counts of sending.
Very, very disappointing.
At Liverpool Crown Court, Barton was convicted of 6 counts of sending grossly offensive electronic communications with intent to cause distress and anxiety related to posts about Aluko, Wald and Vine, and he was acquitted on 6 others. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison but suspended for 18 months, plus had fines and restrictions, including limits on contacting or referencing Aluko, Wald and Vine. He avoided jail but announced an appeal, framing it as the free speech issue.
Given the gravity, persistence and impact of this offending, I have no doubt that neither a fine alone nor a community order can be justified, and that the custody threshold is crossed. There will be concurrent terms of imprisonment for each of these associated offences, the sentences for each reflecting your overall offending and recognising the principle of totality. However, applying the imposition guideline and carrying out the required balancing exercise, I'm satisfied that it's not necessary for those custodial terms to be served immediately. In light of the steps you have taken, I am persuaded that there is some prospect of rehabilitation, that an immediate custodial sentence is not required to protect either the public or the victims, and that a suspended sentence order may itself operate as a deterrent against any future offending by you. And you are required to complete 200 hours of unpaid work in the community.
Barton's continued to post on X rejecting the conviction. Aluko discussed the impact in interviews podcast, including the debates on women's punditry.
Has Joey Barton apologised to you?
No, and actually, it seems that's very important to him to not apologise. But I don't need his apology. I think I've seen enough in terms of the consequence. I care more about the consequences that he has to suffer for what he decided to do to me, to Lucy, to Jeremy, and the conduct that he has exemplified for other people to think it's okay. And I'm pretty confident that he will regret what he's done. He's going to have to pay. He's paid a lot of money already for what he's done. So his apology, to be honest, is not really what I'm focused.
Yeah, people, listen. Now that is the story of Eni, man. Eni Aluko. Yeah, she has the downfall needs to be studied. If she ends up back on ITV now, if they have her back on ITV now, after all of this, the hate comment is going to be flooding. It's going to be flooding her, bro. Yeah, but listen, it's been a long video. If you've reached it to this part of the video, I appreciate you, man. Like, you know, we've been here together, man. You know, I've had to get up a few times, get a few things. You know, I've ate some snacks along the way. I hope you did too. Then again, actually, no. Don't eat no snacks. Stay healthy. But yeah, that's it for me, man. People, do you think that Eni Aluko can come back from this? You know, maybe if she comes out and, you know, accepts her faults as a pundit, etc. Do you think she can come back? Or is it completely over? But that's it for me. If you like the video, like, subscribe. Peace. I'm out.